Hey guys, what's up? It's Cole. So in the light of all of the Dawntrail news dropping, which includes all of the job action changes, we are seeing a very interesting article pop up. And I'm saying this keeping things like hashtag FFXIV healer strike, which I should be super clear, I'm not a part of. I'm gonna ride or die scholar. I love that class and I like healing in raids. But we're seeing an interesting article drop in the time frame of this titled Final Fantasy XIV's Yoshi P says Dawntrail will finally return more individuality to the MMO's jobs, admitting we're not in a good situation for that after years of oversimplification. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly read through this. It's actually really short, so it shouldn't take too long, and I'm going to give you my opinion because I really genuinely do not believe that it's going to be as straightforward as this. I guess hashtag spoiler alert in that. Not that I think that they're reporting wrong, not that I think that the article's bad, not that I think any of that. I just don't believe that this is going to be the case as is kind of being portrayed here. And trust me, I would love to be wrong, but let's get into it. The article starts, as the Final Fantasy XIV community expresses concern about the oversimplification of jobs, Director Yoshi P reveals he's aware, and yes, Dawntrail's future updates will remedy this. While attending the Final Fantasy XIV Dawntrail preview event, Gamesradar Plus spoke to the director and producer Naoki Yoshi P Yoshida regarding controversial job changes like the removal of Kaiten from Samurai's Rotation 6.1. Among the MMO's fan base, there have long been concerns about how classes being too simple, with Samurai being one of many. For example, one Reddit poll asking players whether they're worried about Dawntrail further contributing to the oversimplification of jobs revealed that largely the community is indeed afraid. From the various changes made to Astrologian's cards and sect systems, much to my own dismay, the author adds, to DPS classes ability nerfs, some fans remark that they don't think it's possible for them to make jobs any simpler than they are. Thankfully, Yoshi P is well aware of this sentiment, as is the rest of the Final Fantasy XIV team. In our interview with the developer, he promises that jobs like Samurai won't be simplified any further, explaining that he's still really torn about job tweaks like the removal of Kaiten. At the time of the skills removal, Yoshi P says there were more people requesting Kaiten to be removed than there were that were happy with it. He continues describing how there's no answer in situations like this, as there's always going to be some people who prefer more difficult mechanics than others who prefer simple mechanics. He's not wrong. The removal of skills like Kaiten always sparks varying responses, with many missing an ability and others disagreeing. This doesn't mean Square Enix doesn't take overwhelmingly negative feedback on board, though. Yoshi P states that right now he's also concerned about the simplicity of jobs, just as the majority of fans are. The beloved dev wants each player to have the ability to showcase one's own technique or expertise, but he says that we're not in a good situation for that due to the job simplicity as it is right now. Yoshi P then reveals that the team will remedy this as Dawntrail and its future updates roll out, working towards a more fulfilling playing experience in patch 7.2 and beyond. We will look to the jobs and we will focus on providing more individuality to the jobs. In an attempt to curb multiple updates worth of simplification, Yoshi P details how Square Enix will be incorporating various changes post Dawntrail, some of which will be related to the skill rotations. He even jokes that Kaiten could return as Kaiten 2 and reiterates his earlier promise, come such changes, class will not be more simple. I doubt I'll ever see the intricate asked card system from years past make a comeback, but I'm hopeful for others, as the director stresses how well he understands that a lot of players want to be able to think for themselves. So when I was at the media tour, which I'm so thankful for, I went to the Q&A period, and when Yoshi P talked about job complexity, he made it pretty resoundingly clear that the goal for patch 7.0 series in Dawntrail was really to look at content difficulty and then the rewards around the content. Unfortunately, I cannot post an audio recording of that. I have my hands tied on that, so I have to paraphrase it, so you can't get like the level of depth of response that was given. But what was made really clear in his response was that was the goal of 7.0, and he explicitly stated that he would be looking at stuff like class balance and diversity and like making the jobs more unique and individualistic in patch 8.0, and they even went so far as saying that they really wanted to avoid both the content difficulty ramp up of 7.0 and stacking that on top of the job changes in 8.0. Like, they literally said that so super crystalline clear that they were genuinely not wanting to overwhelm the player base with both of those at the same time. And I did a Q&A summary video. Like, if you do go to my ad-free website, fx.gg, like, I literally just have, like, a post there with all the compiled media tour coverage there if you want to, like, check that out. But, like, in my opinion, as someone who literally was there, who literally listened to everything that Yoshi P said and then was beautifully translated, as always, she does beautiful work. The translation speed and skill is just amazing. I genuinely do not believe that they are going to make these massive job dehomogenization changes in the 7.0 series based on what they said. I'm going to be a little analytical here and say, what time was this interview conducted? And it would be during the Dawntrail preview event, as they said, which of course it would be. Like, that's the natural thing to come to. However, that means that this interview was before things like hashtag FFXIV healer strike, which I maybe should make very clear from my last video. I'm not participating in. I'm a ride or die for Scholar, bro. I love healing in this game. Barrier healers are so cool, and I love them. And I think Seraphism is going to be the coolest healing tool ever. I love it. I just want Miasma 2 and a little bit of DPS complexity added, but that's it. But I digress. But my point is, this is not Yoshi P responding to hashtag FFXIV healer strike, or people worried about the Astrologian card changes, or Samurai mains seeing the Dawntrail changes and demanding Kaiten back, even though I do believe that there is definitely a portion of them that want it back. But my point is, I do not believe, and we're being pretty generous here, within the span of 48 hours, that Yoshi P was suddenly just like, I'm gonna have a change of heart. You know what, I'm going to smash job changes and break the homogenization as I'm ramping up the difficulty, even though I just explicitly said that I'm worried about bombarding the player base with both and making it too overwhelming. So I know that some people will read this article, it's spread around like wildfire, and I think that they'll be like, hashtag I win, you lose, Black Mage changes. Oh yeah, you heard my feedback on the Black Mage changes. Well, the community didn't at large have the Black Mage changes until then, like after this was conducted. So no, not quite. Now, what would make me believe this would be if, and we have like a live letter in what, like 2 days, if Yoshi P went during that live letter and made very clear, hey, you know what, I changed my mind, and during the 7.2 series, you're gonna all get a job rework. But anything short of that, I don't believe it. Now, I want to talk about what I do think is in the realm of possible, because I do 100% believe that job changes and rotational tweaks and little things being added and removed from kits is possible. Shadowbringer Summoner had a triple weave. That was reworked quite quickly. Ninja tweaks, there were a lot of ninja tweaks actually back then. During Stormblood, we had pretty early on, like, warrior changes, I recall. Oh, like, we had a Shadowbringer's Monk rework, or even this expansion, Paladin had, like, some shifting in skills. Actually, quite a bit of shifting in skills, if I'm honest. Their rotation changed a little bit. Quite a bit, actually. All that being said, there is definitely a history of there being tweaked to jobs, especially if they see a problem with them. They will act on that, but generally speaking, like, you're not... I genuinely would be shocked to see any massive, wide sweeping, we're gonna completely shift up all the healers, like, we're gonna make Scholar feel completely different than Sage, and we're gonna have, like, damage over time effects that every time they proc give an AoE heal, and then we're gonna change energy drain system to now we get, like, 4 different energy drain spenders. One of them is us, like, buffing the party because we speak our words. The other one is going to be like applying a damage over time. Like, I don't see something like that happening mid-expansion. Now what I could see, greedy little scholar that I am, of course I need to always make it about me, but that's what I play, so of course I'm going to. But it's just like, I definitely see for Scholar them adding back Miasma 2, especially because it exists for Sage, and maybe doing something with energy drain, but I do not see them saying, well, we're gonna remove dissipation and rework that into a damage over time, heals the party kind of system or something like that. I don't really see that kind of thing happening at all. Or like, take the example of what if they changed or reworked one of their healing skills to act like a smaller version of their Numa's skill that is currently a 2-minute cooldown, but all it is like a damage and a small heal. What if they incorporated that into like a different ability. Like they added a new off GCD for that, like every 15 seconds and lower doses potency. Did I just describe a size? Crap. Anyhow, there's my thoughts, guys.